And welcome to another exciting episode of the Neville Goddard podcast. 3 million listens, gang. Thank you. That's all I gotta say. Let's dive in. Let's explore some attitude. Let's just, we're gonna tell you why. Your reactions create your reality too. Let's do it. See ya. Alright, so we have 3 million listens today. We started this back in July of 2017. I even took a tiny break, didn't do much. But we just hit 3 million listens. Our most popular episode is your reactions create your reality. So we're calling this one Your Reactions Create Your Reality 2. Because a lot of people, they're still flat-footed. They're back on their heels, as we would say in karate school, right? They're stuck in the muck, is probably how they feel. Your reactions create your reality, and your reactions are what you are honestly imagining. Oh, fuck, it's Monday. Oh, there you go. Enjoy the rest of your week. Right? I go, whoa, it's Monday. All right. And it's not about being positive. I'm not a fan of putting a pretty picture frame around an ugly picture. Right? An ugly picture is still an ugly picture. It's still going to sting you. But you could be positive about it. Meanwhile, your reactions do create your reality. We have 3 million listens. And here's what happened, gang. Years ago, I was attending one of the digital marketer conferences remotely because they weren't coming to Australia at the time. And there was a podcast guy on there. And he talked about how intimate the podcast is. And why you want a podcast. Because people listen to podcasts when they're working out, when they're walking, when they're driving the car. I talk to people all the time. I say, people are wearing headsets around me. I wave at them and point at my lips. And they turn it off. And I say, what are you listening to? I just want to know. I'm curious. And they tell me. And I say, wow, cool. And they ask, what do you listen to? I says, anything but me. But I do listen to my own podcast. But here's the fun thing, guys. Ready? So they talked about this. They talked about this podcasting thing. And I went, I'm going to put me up a podcast. And back in the old days, you actually had to, from my research, looked like you had to put up a website, put up an RSS feed, feed your podcast to the website, hook up the RSS feeds to things like Apple, and I don't think Spotify even existed. I don't remember. But it's like, for God's sake. And it was so freaking complicated, and they suggested you have a specific kind of server and make sure you got enough bandwidth. Because if your podcast gets popular, you don't want it to seize up or go down. And it's like, I'm not into up and down. I'm into forward. Meanwhile, can you tell I'm having fun here? How much fun are you having? Because your reactions create your reality. Some people aren't into fun. They just want step by step to get it done. That's a reaction to reality. If you just want step by step to get it done so that I don't ever have any problems again, and so it's all rainbow-colored unicorn farts, you're missing the whole point. You're going to have speed bumps. Meanwhile, give life to some incredible lovely. I want you to think about this. So I dropped it. My reaction to all that bullshit was, I'm not doing this. This is too much work. My reaction created my reality. I did not have a podcast for a while. Then I watched another digital marketer thing, and the guy talked about the intimacy of podcasts and how they give to your people and how they listen to them while working out. Are you working out or driving a car right now? We have people at the pool listening to podcasts. I know because I ask them. Meanwhile, I can't get it out of my head, guys. I keep imagining getting great feedback from the podcasts. And so I imagine, getting great feedback from the podcast. And somebody tells me about this thing called Anchor. Anchor's where I make the podcast. And back then, Anchor limited you to 5 minutes. That was it, in and out. And, I noticed something. That's my style. I like it fast and furious. Now we go up to 11 minutes sometimes. But we still keep the podcast episodes short. And what's really cool is this. Your reactions create your reality. Whenever I stopped reacting like a doofus, somebody invented Anchor. When I started really reacting from my imaginal act, getting your emails, having you guys order good shit, saying, hey, I figured out your podcast is amazing, so your shit must be triple amazing. It is. Love your attitude. All right. You see, my podcast is my family finder. This is my attitude. I'm into this to find family. Family being those people that want to live with freedom. Because I had PTSD, I was a massive reaction. I was a massive overreaction to everything. And whenever I got PTSD is nothing more than the imagination out of control. That's when I dove deep back into Neville Goddard and decided to run my life instead of having my life, just be a bunch of triggers. You guys in Manifesting Mastery, getting the gold? There's a reason why we dismantle triggers for that first week, because as long as you're walking around triggered, your reaction creates your reality, and all you are is triggered day in and day out by your mother-in-law, by the news, by the gossip, by the stranger, by the fact that nothing is happening, Mr. 20. Yep, I'm studying on Reddit 6 hours a day. You see, you can keep doing what you've always done. You can keep reacting the way you always have. Or you can have 3 million listens. See, if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, I'm imagining that you're blessed because I imagined something. And my reaction to being told podcasts are the most intimate, lovely way for you to give to your people. My reaction to that is, I want that. I'm doing that. I enjoy that. See, I started having reactions coming from, now I do usually 1 or 2 podcasts, sometimes 3 a day. Because I want to give. 3 million listens? Do you think it matters? I suspect it really matters. But your reactions create your reality too. How are you reacting to literally the sound of my voice, to the sound of your neighbor's voice? I know people who resist me. Oh, you're a marketer, Mr. 20, you just want money. I do, right? I want paid for my work. I give away more free shit than most people charge for. I'm fine with that. Because most importantly, what I want is impact in the world. Well, here's the thing. Everybody wants impact. Some people want gloom and doom impact. And when your neighbor or Aunt Ethel calls up and tells you all the gloom and doom and you feel like shit for 4 freaking hours, and then somebody that you love walks through the door and you look at them and you feel like shit, and then you start blaming them for the fact that you feel like shit and you wonder why your marriage went to shit, that's one way to go. Another way to go is to tell people, hey, you know what, I'm sorry, not interested in that. Love to have a conversation with you about something lovely and cool. How's that garden going? All right, let me show you mine. When you start to lead, your life will start to follow. Your reactions create your reality too. And they really do, because my reactions as a leader is when something doesn't go my way, I go, right. And then I make it go my way. And I don't use force. What I do is I surrender to something lovely, like sharing this message with you today. See, because I imagine millions of listens. I imagine people's lives being changed because I'm silly enough to take some time every day and make a splash. I'm silly enough to have some attitude. If you got gold today, what I want for you is to have more attitude too. We're talking this right now about the Struggle Stopper and the Attitude of Abdullah. You can get them at NevilleGoddardStore.com. Go there. That's NevilleGoddardStore.com. That's what funds the podcast. That's what lets life be fun. If you are getting gold from the podcasts, all 2,000 plus episodes, you think about that. 2,000 plus episodes of me just having fun. 3 million listens. That tells me somebody's being blessed. So do your emails and orders, by the way. So do your shares. I really appreciate those. Because for me, this whole thing about I remember when I was a massive reaction to the world. I remember being the captain of PTSD back in the 90s. Right? Early 90s, my life really sucked, man. It really did. I was a reaction to everything. Helicopters, black people, people wearing brown clothes, chainsaws, that noise coming out of a police radio, all these triggers I had. And of course, I started applying them rapidly to everyone around me, like looking at my wife at the time and feeling upset. Because it's her fault, isn't it? Meanwhile, The Attitude of Abdullah and The Struggle Stopper, you can get them at NevilleGoddardStore.com. Dive in, dive deeper, soar higher. And thanks for listening. Listen, ready right now? You listened? You're one of the 3 million listens right now. Actually, 3,000,001 and counting. Imagine my smiles. Have a lovely day. Be blessed. See ya.